so they had sent me over to the young adult section. And the author that I recognized was Judy Blume. So I picked it up and I started reading it, and the librarian freaked out, called my mother. It was a big thing. And of course, you know, when you're 10, 11 years old, you're like, wow, I'm going to read that book now. So I tracked it down, and a couple of years later I read it. And it is one of the books that helped me realize, and especially later, it's one of those ones that develop your thinking, and it sets a tone for how you're going to view relationships and life and love. And it's a very realistic portrayal. And when I was 18 and going through this heartbreak, this is the book that came to mind. And then when I read it again, I'm still crying at the end, and I'm having my 16-year-old daughter read it, because it is the book that teaches you that life might not be what you want it, but it's part of growing up, and it hurts. So it's about a boy and a girl who fall in love, and they're both 17, they're seniors in high school, and they start dating, and this is one of the first conversations she has with her best friend about him. And the best friend asks, "Do you love him?" "I like him a lot. That's all I know right now. I turned out the bedroom light. I wasn't going to say I loved Michael yet. I was too quick to think I'd love Tommy Aronson, and he and I never even got to be friends. I already knew Michael better than I'd ever known Tommy. And the way I felt about Tommy last year was nothing compared to what I felt for Michael." "Are you still a virgin?" Erica asked. "Yes." "Is he?" "I don't know. I haven't asked." "I've been thinking," Erica said, "that it might not be a bad idea to get laid before college." "Just like that?" "Well, I'd have to be attracted to him naturally." "What about love?" "You don't need love to have sex." "But it means more that way." "Oh, I don't know. They say the first time's never any good anyway." "Which is why you should at least love him," I said. "Maybe. But I'd really like to get it over with." "What's the point? I'm always thinking about it, wondering who it's going to be." And then the conversation goes from there. So Catherine and Michael start dating, and of course, progressively their sexual experiences become more and more. And Catherine has some very involved parents, and the conversations are the dad is very good, and the mom. So this is a conversation between her and her mother. "On the way to school, I said, 'Mom, were you a virgin when you got married?' My mother kept looking straight ahead, but she tightened her grip on the wheel. I quickly added, 'I mean, I know you said you were, but—'" We stopped at a red light. Mom turned to me. "I was a virgin until we were engaged, not married." "How about Dad?" "There were double standards then. Boys were supposed to get plenty of experience before marriage." The car behind us tooted. "The light's green," I said. "Oh." We drove up East Broad Street and under the railroad tracks. "Are you glad you waited?" I asked. "I don't think of it in terms of waiting. I was just 20. If you had to do it all over again, would you still wait until you were engaged?" "Everything's different now. I wouldn't have married so young in the first place." "But would you have waited?" "I can't answer that. I just don't know." I didn't say anything more, but when we got to school, instead of just dropping me off, my mother pulled into the lot and turned off the ignition. "Look, Kath," she said, "I've always been honest with you about sex." "I know. But you have to be sure you can handle the situation before you jump into it. Sex is a commitment. Once you're there, you can't go back to holding hands." "I know it. And when you give yourself both mentally and physically, well, you're completely vulnerable. I've heard that before." "It's true," my mother said. "It's up to you to decide what's right and what's wrong. I'm not going to tell you to go ahead, but I'm not going to forbid it either. It's too late for any of that. I expect you to handle it with a sense of responsibility, though, either way." I wasn't asking for personal reasons, Mom. I was just curious, really. So eventually, Catherine's grandmother is also very cool, and she sent her information about Planned Parenthood. And Catherine went on her own and went and got birth control. And eventually her and her boyfriend Michael have sex for the first time. So this is at the end of the scene. On the way home, I thought, I am no longer never have to go through the first time business again, and I'm glad. I'm so glad it's over. Still, I can't help feeling let down. Everybody makes such a big thing out of it actually doing it. But Michael is probably right. This takes practice. I can't imagine what the first time would be like with someone you didn't love. We were sitting around the kitchen table the next day having Sunday brunch. I thought for sure as soon as my parents saw me, they'd be able to tell. But after a while I realized they were acting the same as always, so I guess my experience doesn't show at all. The phone rang. Picking it up, I said hello, sounding irritated. Kath? It was Michael. Oh, hi. What's wrong? Nothing. I thought you were someone else. Hang on a sec. I'll take it upstairs. How are you doing? He asked me when I picked up the extension. I'm fine. And you? Okay. I just wanted to tell you I thought about you all night. Same here. About you, that is. And that it was very special for me. For me, too. My mother came to my room that night. I cut this article out of the Times, she said, handing it to me. I think it has a lot to say. You might find it interesting. I got comfortable in bed, adjusted my lamp, and looked at the article. Maybe my mom could tell about me after all. The title was, What About the Right to Say No? And the subtitle was, Sexual Liberation. It was written by a doctor of medical clinics at Yale. He said that he always asks adolescents 4 questions when he talks to them about sex. Number 1, is sexual intercourse necessary for the relationship? Number 2, what should you expect from sexual intercourse? Number 3, if you should need help, where will you seek it? And number 4, have you thought about how this relationship will end? Question 3 didn't interest me that much, so I jumped ahead to question 4, which made me very angry. Why should I have to think about the end with Michael when we are just at the beginning? And I didn't like the way he said rejection is rejection, whether we call it divorce, puppy love, or adolescent turmoil. Anyway, who says a relationship has to end? What did you think? Mom asked over breakfast. About what? That article. Oh, well, it was pretty good. Did you agree? With some of it. Like a person shouldn't ever feel pushed into sex or that she has to do it to please somebody else. I'm glad you feel that way, Mom said. I'm answering you hypothetically, I told her, not personally. Yes, of course. Eventually, Catherine's parents sent her away for the summer to become a camp counselor. They feel that her and Michael are too close, and she needs a new boy at camp. And she had told her mom that even though you were sending me away, Michael and I will be in love forever. And that, of course, doesn't happen. And so this is the breakup scene. Finally, he opened the bathroom door. His shirt was still inside out, but he tied his sneakers. He walked over to the nightstand and put on his glasses. I'm not about to share you, he said, sounding calm. I want it the way it was before, so make up your mind. I swallowed hard. I can't make any promises, not now. That's what I thought. Are you saying it's over then? You said it just now. Couldn't we sit on it a little while and see what happens? You can't have it both ways. Then it's really over, isn't it? Suddenly, question number 4 popped into my mind. Have you ever thought about how this relationship will end? I guess so, he said. I took off my necklace and held it out to him. My throat was too tight to talk. Keep it, he told me. I don't think I should. Our fingers touched as I handed it to him. What am I supposed to do with a necklace that says Catherine? I don't know. He picked up my pocketbook and dropped the necklace into it. We saw each other one more time before we left for school. Eric and I were shopping in Hans, and there he was at the stationery counter. I said hi, and he said, oh, hi. I said, how are you? And he said, okay. And you? Okay. How's Artie? He's home. I saw him yesterday. I'm glad. Erica disappeared down another aisle, and Michael and I just stood there looking at each other. Well, I said, good luck at school. You too. Thanks. Oh, by the way, I got that job in Vail. Are you going to take it? He shrugged. It all depends. Michael? Yeah. I wanted to tell him that I will never be sorry for loving him, that in a way I still do, that maybe I always will. I'll never regret one single thing we did together because what we had was very special. Maybe if we were 10 years older, it would have worked out differently. Maybe. I think it's just that I'm not ready for forever. I hope that Michael knew what I was thinking. I hope that my eyes got the message through to him because all I could manage to say was, see you around. Yeah, he answered, see you around. One of the things I love about it is even though it was written in the 70s, it's still so relevant. So, I told my daughter to read it.